Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Madhav, Sharan, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Let me start. Yes, sir. Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandavat Pranams to all. We welcome all of you for the today's morning program, Nityam Bhagavatha Sevaya. And today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Madhav Sharan Prabhu, and he will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 2nd chapter, verses 22 and 23. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the class. And first of all, before starting the class, I would like to take the blessings of all the assembled devotees. And thank you to the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya team for giving the opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. We are covering today Shloka 5.2.22 and 23. The chapter is entitled The Activities of Maharaja Agnidra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 22. Agnidro Rajatripta Kamanam Apsarasam Evanudinam Adhimanyamanas Tasya Saloktam Shrutibhir Avarunda Yatra Pitaro Madhayante. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After Purvachitti's departure, King Agnidra, his lusty desires not at all satisfied, always sought of her. Therefore, in accordance with the Vedic injunctions, the king, after his death, was promoted to the same planet as his celestial wife. That planet, which is called Pitraloka, is where the Pitas, the forefathers, live in great delight. Text 23. Samparete Pitari Nama Bhataro Meru Duhitra Meru Devim Pratirupam Ugra Dham Strim Latam Ramyam Shamam Narim Bhadram Devat Vitim Iti Samnya Namo Davahan. Translation. After the departure of their father, the 9 brothers married the 9 daughters of Meru, named Meru Devi, Pratirupa, Ugra Dramstri, Lata, Ramya, Shama, Nari, Bhadra, and Deva Viti. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the fifth canto, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of Maharaja Nidra. Hare Krishna. So, actually, this section we are seeing the descendants of uh, Priyavrata Maharaj, and which is coming from the Manus. Uh, um, Basically, this shloka 22nd, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, because this Agnidra, he had the attachment to to his celestial wife, so he was transferred to the Pitraloka. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavan tajantante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sadha tadbhava bhavitah. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So this section is very very important for the sadhaka bhakta, so practicing devotee, because it is mentioned that the sex life is the basic principle of the material existence. And here Maharaj Agnidra is attracted, he's having that sexual attraction. So many times, the people will argue saying why one has to speak about uh, this sex life, or why it should be spoken in public, it should be discussed in a private place. But we see throughout Bhagavatam these topics are discussed. In the Nectar of Instruction, it is mentioned, unless one controls the mind and the senses, there is no question of spiritual progress. So one has to control the senses. And also Prahlad Maharaja, he says to Hiranyakashipu in the 7th canto, Yam maithunadi grahamedi sukham hi tucham Kanduyanena karayor iva dukkha dukkham trapyanti neha krapana bahudukka bhaja kandutivan manusijam vishaheta dhira. So Grahamedi enjoys the sensual happiness as a materialistic person. So there is Grahastha, there is Grahamedi. Grahasthas are supposed to lead a regulated life, whereas Grahamedi is not having any restrictions. So Yam Maithunadi Grahamedi Sukham hi tucham. So this world is referred to as Maithunya Aghara. So place where everybody is, most of the people, they are attracted to this sex life. But what Prahlad Maharaj says, he's a pure devotee, and what he says, Sukham hi tucham. It's very low level of enjoyment. So the pure devotee seeks higher pleasure of pleasing and serving Krishna. So when he serves Krishna, he gets higher pleasure. And for him, the happiness of sex life is tucham. Even we see actually in various sections, various pure devotees, they are speaking. Yamunacharya says, when I think of the sex life, my tongue, it twists because of the disgust what he feels. So but Grahamedi, he is very much interested or attracted to this sensual happiness. So Traptyanti Neha Krapana Bahudukka Bhaja. And what does Prahlad Maharaj says here, it is like a scratching of an itch. So when one scratches the itch, it becomes more and more troublesome. More we try to enjoy, it becomes more, it becomes troublesome. First of all, the soul is pure by nature, Satchidananda. And soul will be never satisfied by any amount of sense gratification. So we should understand this point, at least theoretically, and then slowly we have to realize this, that soul will never be satisfied by any amount of sense gratification. So therefore, what does the dhira, vishaheta dhira? So what does the sober person do? He will tolerate the urges or the demands of the senses. Then one may say, if we say, only restraining, we will not be able to do it. So there is a two-way process. On the one side, one has to tolerate the urges. On the other side, he has to engage the mind in Krishna's service. On one side, he says no, and on the other side, he says yes to Krishna. So this is the tactic how one will tackle this desire, subtle desire. So if it gets worse, what he will suffer more. So that is why it is better to tolerate, and it will go after some time. So that's why Acharya say, greatness of a person is estimated by how much he is able to tolerate the provoking situations. So Prahlad Maharaj says his friend here, Agnidra, what he is telling, the intelligence person always thinks, that he considers this sex life to be tucham. But here Agnidra, what he is doing, he is not satisfied. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is in the translation, he is mentioning that his lusty desires are not at all satisfied, and he is thinking of his wife, Purvachitti. Actually, this less intelligent person, they think in different terms. I try to enjoy sense gratification. Maybe I'm not doing it right way. This time, I'm not satisfied. Okay, next time I will try it in a different way. Maybe I will get more satisfaction. Maybe I will have more 2-3 wives, or I will have girlfriends. Then I will be happy. I'm not doing it right. That's why I might not be satisfied. Maybe this, maybe that method I will try to be happy. But the fact is, one cannot be satisfied by any amount of sense gratification. So the intelligent person thinks, if I am not satisfied, then why I should be engaged in such activities? Let my goal be clear. Krishna prema. So vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. So Agnidra, he is in Maya. So that's why what yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajantante kalevaram. So whatever bhava one has at the time of death, he has to take the next body. So here he goes to Pitralok. And we see, these demands, how much ever the senses are, are tried to be satisfied, it is not getting satisfied. That's why the devotee starts praying, what? After so many years, I tried to satisfy my uncontrolled senses. Now, neither my senses are satisfied, nor I am satisfied. So Krishna, please engage me in your service. so that at least in your service I can be satisfied. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yuddhacha. Even Krishna says what? Always think of me and then do your prescribed duty. But the nature of the mind is, it's carried away. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati bhalavadranam. So, very, unsteady and flickering, can't control the mind, control the senses. But when one surrenders to Krishna, Krishna is a Hari. Hari means one who carries away. So he carries away our mind. He attracts our mind because Krishna is all attractive. That's why devotee is praying, please engage me in your service. Take my activities towards you. Take my mind towards you. But the problem is, mind is always hankering for sense gratification. And we may say, why we have to discuss this topic? We have realized, we have understood that, sex life is not good. But why we have to discuss this in Bhagavatam class? But the problem is, this is even haunting being practicing devotees. So we are also sometimes becoming victim. So how we should come out of this? So acharyas say that, always think about the transcendental qualities of Krishna. Krishna consciousness means to withdraw the mind from the matter and engage them in the service of Krishna. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. And Krishna also says in so many places, what? Machitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So, hear about Krishna, chant Krishna's holy name, hear Krishna Katha, don't do prajalpa. So then we may say, how do we overcome? It's not possible sometimes. So what Krishna says, it is by practice one can do it. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. By practice one can overcome this. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahyate. So the whole practice, what we are doing in Krishna consciousness movement, is to engage us in the practical devotional service, so that we come to the point of always 24/7 thinking about Krishna. Always thinking about Krishna. Whether it is raising early in the morning, attending Mangalarati, chanting our rounds, Srimad Bhagavatam class, prasadam prayers, worshipping deities, whatever different activities we are doing, preaching, book distribution, with these practices, we do the abhyasa, when, practice. And slowly, what happens? This practice, this slowly leads to greater and greater attraction to Krishna. And when becomes more and more attracting towards Krishna, towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then slowly one can leave the lower taste. And the more one is having that laulyam, the more one is having that eagerness, the faster he can come out of this anartha, and anartha nivrati stage will be very fast. So here Agnidra was a pious person, definitely, there is no doubt, but he was in Maya. As per the Sukadeva Goswami, he was in Maya. So we in Bhagavatam we see in Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, we see two extreme end. Prahlad Maharaj is mentioned as Mahabhagavato Mahan. That is one extreme. Bhagavata means great devotee. Mahabhagavata means very, very great devotee. And Prahlad Maharaj is best in amongst the Mahabhagavatas. Mahabhagavato Mahan. So one extreme end. And he is calling his father as Asuravaryo. Asuravaryo is the king of the demon, the best of the demon. So another extreme. So Prahlad Maharaj is completely Krishna conscious, and here Hiranyakashipu is completely not Krishna conscious. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishne Paratasvato va mito bhipatyeta graha vratanam adhanta gobir vishatam stamishram punah punascharvita charvananam. So what the materialistic persons are doing? Punah punascharvita charvananam. We need sensual happiness for them, whether it is in the form of touching, tasting, smelling. There should be something very nice to smell, very nice to touch. So these are the sexual attraction is the basic principle of material life. Pumsastriya maithuni bhavametam tayormito hridaya grantim ahu ato graha kshetra sutapta vitte janasya mohoyam aham mameti. So janasya mohoyam aham mameti. The strong hridaya granthi is there. And we think everything in terms of I and mine because of this. Mera Bharat Mahan, my country, my India. And this is my property. My husband, my wife, my children. So many I and mine, I and mine. And in short, they are telling that, I don't want Krishna because I am inimical to Krishna. Krishna Boliya say Jeev Anadi Bahirmukha. So we are turned away from Krishna. So what we will get? Only samsara dukha. We will get only the miseries of the material world. Mamapetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam. So when we are turning our face away from Krishna, then what we get? Only the sufferings of the material world. The Jivatma thinks that all the sensual happiness is the pleasurable things, but he forgets that along with the pleasure comes the miseries of the material world. So there are so many attractions for the living entities. So let me enjoy. But along with the enjoyment comes the misery. It is like the coin, head and tails. If you want a head, along with that tail also comes. But the time when the Jivatma enjoys happiness, he forgets that along with the happiness comes the misery. So Srimad Bhagavatam throughout it explains. We are in now in 5th canto, but still it is explaining about this happiness. Sukham hi tucham, and even in the 7th canto, even in the 9th canto, Yayati. So everywhere, why it is mentioned? Because this is the basic principle of material existence. The intelligent person will try to know the thing, and he will try to come out of this attraction. And that is what is required. It is very much required to go back to Godhead. We are speaking of the esoteric topics of Leelas of Radha and Krishna. And when we have these lower inclinations, we can't, think that I have all these sensual attraction. At the same time, I can go back to spiritual world. It's not possible. One has to be completely pure, 100% pure. So that's why pure devotees are sometimes they seem to be very extreme persons, because you should have extreme attachment to Krishna. when one has extreme attachment to Krishna, then he can give up these lower tendencies. So when gets the higher taste, then he automatically leaves the lower taste. So in order to get that higher taste, we have to pay the price. We have to undergo that pain of restraining the senses and other things. But generally, we should not speak about all these things, and it's okay if we have little bit of attraction. It's natural. Mm. Slowly it will go away, but it doesn't go away automatically. It doesn't go automatically. One has to, on the one side, if flame is there, big flame, and if one is putting petrol into it, it is, the flame is burning more and more. Putting petrol is equivalent to indulging in sense gratification. We think if we indulge in this time, if I indulge in sense gratification, next time I can restrain it. But the problem is, it is like putting the petrol, the flame will burn more and more only. So in order that flame to be extinguished, on one side we have to stop pouring the petrol. Stopping pouring the petrol means restraining the senses. And on the other side, if the fire has to be extinguished, we have to put water on it. So putting water on it is like Krishna conscious activities. On one side, we are restraining, that means we are stopping pouring petrol. And on the other side, we are pouring water. That means we are turning our face to Krishna. We are hearing Kirtan, we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam class, we are running towards devotees. So with both the processes, the fire can be extinguished. Similarly, our strong sensual attraction can be extinguished only by one side restraining it, and on the other side engaging our senses in the service of Krishna. Rashikena Rashikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyat. That is the only method. And when Krishna sees that the devotee is endeavoring, very sincerely to control the senses, Krishna gives that control to the devotee. It's by mercy of Krishna and mercy of devotees, one can control the senses. So intelligent person can see what this sensual attraction doesn't make me happy. Ehi samsparsha ja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So an intelligent person does not take part in sources of misery. Why? Because it's coming due to the contact with the material senses. And it has an beginning and it has an end. And an intelligent person does not take pleasure in indulging in sense gratification. So the intelligent person, he knows, his intelligence is so strong. What is intelligence? Determination plus discrimination. He is able to discriminate that I am not supposed to do it. That is one part. He is able to discriminate, and at the same time, with determination, he is restraining the senses. But if the determination is weak, intelligence is not very strong, then mind takes over. Chanchalam hi manak Krishna. Mind takes over, and one will indulge in the sense gratification. So we see in the next verses actually, how Agnidra's son Nabi, he performs many sacrifices and he worshipped Lord Vishnu. Actually, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala. We see Rishabhadeva's incarnations, or all the things. But here we have to understand that Krishna is only attracted to devotional service. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. So only by devotional service one can understand Supreme Personality of Godhead. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Daya Dalayaksham. So Krishna is very attractive, all attractive. So very beautiful. When one pure devotee is attracted to the Lord, is not attracted to the garbage like this sense gratification. So, who goes for the garbage? Only the crows go. The hamsas, they don't. So, there may be different methods and to perform various activities. But only through bhakti one can understand Krishna. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. So Krishna sees the heart or the bhava. Bhavagrahi Janardana. In Hastinapur, Duryodhan arranged a big feast, very opulent feast for Krishna. But what did Krishna do? Krishna did not go to Duryodhana's palace. Krishna directly went to Vidura's house. Even though there may not be big feast, and the Vidura's wife gave she peeled the banana and gave the outer covering. But Krishna ate it. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upamhratam ashnami prayatatmanaha. So we may offer simple fruit to Krishna or simply some water. But the main ingredient here is bhakti upahratam, is devotion. Whether we are doing deity worship, we may be using different paraphernalias. Of course, we need to give the best to the Lord in all aspects. Best bhoga, best everything. But it's the main ingredient here is the devotion. If that is missing, then Krishna doesn't care. But if it is there, even the most insignificant offering also is valuable to Lord Krishna. It is like Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a child, offering cake, to his father. With love, he gives the cake. Father, take this cake. And father happily eats it. Srila Prabhupada says, the cake is brought by father only. He only worked and he only brought the cake. And second point, a small piece of cake, father doesn't care, because if from his money he can buy hundreds of cakes, but still he accepts the small cake. Why? Because out of love for his child, father accepts this. So same principle, it's for Krishna and his devotees. Krishna is interested in the loving dealings. In the spiritual world, all the activities are going, and that are they based on this principle of loving devotional service. In the material world, everything is based on the karma. So, like maybe the Bangalore or the big Bombay cities, skyscraper building is there built, and we have high-end cars. All the things are there because everybody want to enjoy sense gratification. So Maithunya Agara, and we want daily bread. We are interested in daily bread. Give me this, give me that. We have a big list, to ask to Lord, what and all we want to have. But even we see in Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted big kingdom, greater than his great grandfather. And Dhruva Gajendra was in distress. Naimisharanya Rishis, they had this inquisitiveness. Kumaras were jnani. So all these, they were mixed devotees. I mean, in the beginning, but later what happened? It's a pure devotee. How? Ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So interest is in pleasing Krishna. So in the beginning there was some distress or want of wealth, but when ultimately they only wanted to please Krishna. So devotees in the various rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, whatever relationships may be there, but the basic principle is selfless devotional service. Devotee just wants to please Krishna, just want to satisfy Krishna. So a Lord is attracted by that service and he reciprocates with the devotee. Devotee takes pleasure in serving Krishna, and Krishna also takes pleasure in serving devotees. So that's why Krishna helps in all aspects. If the devotees are trying to sincerely control the senses, Krishna awards that control to devotee because he wants to serve devotees. You know, for Arjuna, he became a Partha Sarathi. Generally, this riding of horses, they Shudras used to do that. We know that in the Draupadi Swayamvara, when Karna had come, Draupadi asked, "Who is that person? Who is his father?" Because Karna was a son of the charioteer that time. I mean, so-called father. And this is not a high-paid job or something. It is like we tell princess getting married to a taxi driver. Driver. Here, driver is considered to be lower position, and a kshatriya who is administrator is on the higher position actually. But Krishna willingly took that position of being the charioteer of Arjuna. And what did Arjuna said? Ratam stapitva me achyutaha. So Achyuta, go and keep the chariot in the middle. It's like a order giving to Krishna, and Krishna accepted it happily. Yes, sir, I will do it. And he's not doing it, very sadly, or he's doing it out of love, and he's happy to serve. It's like Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Prime Minister of England. One time, what happens? One important person, he goes and takes the appointment with the Prime Minister of England, and he waits outside. He is waiting. Prime Minister is not coming, and he doesn't understand what is happening. And he goes and he sees inside his house, door was open, and what did he see? Prime Minister is wearing the banyan, and he's with the four leg, 2 hands and 2 legs on the ground. Grandson is sitting on his back, and he's riding as if the horse is riding the passenger. So the Prime Minister is very, very happy. He's laughing, and he's carrying the grandson. And this important person sees what this he can't say because it's his personal family. So similarly, Krishna is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Sarvaloka Maheshwar Krishna. So what do he do in Vrindavan? Gopas, they jump on his back. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. But here we see is riding the chariot for Arjuna. He enjoys to serve his devotees. Krishna doesn't consider, this is a lower position, becoming charioteer. It's a lower position. I will not do it. No, he's taking the humble position. Similarly, being devotees, we should be ready to take the humble position. Dasa dasa anudasa. Gopi bhartur padakamalayora dasa dasa anudas. This is the mood which Krishna wants us to develop. Dasa dasa anudas. So everybody is trying to develop that mood. It is like Vaikuntha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, uh, actually we should not hanker for any position. Mm, we should always hanker for the service, or the even spirit of the service we should develop. Sometimes we also may become attached to service, but that's okay. But still we should be having the spirit of service, not the position. I should be Sankirtan leader. No, I should have this position. Not that way. We should be servant of the servant of servant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Shikshashtakam, what did he say? Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatam bhaktir ahetu ki tvai. So just want to serve. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim. I don't want any jana followers, no money, or nor any beautiful women. I want to serve you life after life. So Krishna becomes attracted by that kind of spirit of service, because that devotional service is Lord's internal potency. It's that internal potency of the Lord is very, very powerful. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvata. Not by karma, not by jnana, only by bhakti. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakala ashant Krishna bhakta Krishna bhakta nishkama atayeva shant. So the whole process is to chant sincerely with the devotion, and be engaged in simple the service, whatever service we can do, to the best of our ability. When we do this sincerely, and at the same time we try to control our senses, and engage all our senses in the service of Krishna, then slowly we progress, we make progress, and how fast we progress depends on our sincerity, how much we want actually. So one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, can we finish it in this lifetime? So Prabhupada says, what? 1 minute is enough to surrender to Krishna. 1 minute. So sometimes we also get this doubt. Can we finish, go back to Godhead within this lifetime? So Prabhupada says 1 minute is enough. How? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshavishyami masuchaha. Just surrender to Krishna. It seems very easy, but if we have that laulyam, it is very fast. So anartha nivritti stage is in our hand. It can be bigger, it can be shorter. So how much sincere we are, it becomes that much shorter. And then when comes to the Nishtha stage, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, it's very fast. Nishtha to Bhava, Prema, it's very fast. Only problem, we are stuck in the Anartha Nivritti. And if one is having strong laulyam, then Anartha Nivritti stage becomes shorter. Here Agnidra, he had his lusty desires are not at all satisfied. He was always thinking of Purvachitti. But instead of that, if we are always thinking of Krishna, and 24/7 we put our effort in absorbing in Krishna Katha, chanting Krishna's holy name, very quickly one will advance and he can achieve the ultimate goal, which is Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, comments, and or suggestions, we can take it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful Class Prabhu.
Hare
So
Krishna.
you started with how like what is the reason, the cause for material existence, and also how this by any means one is never satisfied with any kind of sensual pleasures, and you have to, you said like how to tolerate the these urges, and then we have to engage in the devotional service, and you have talked about what Prahlad Maharaj said about all this sensual pleasures, and which is a very like tucham or lowest pressure, that one. And also like how to practice the devotional service. You said like Vesayatma Buddhi Eke Kurunandana. And like you are saying that like we should please pray to Krishna that please engage me in your devotional service. And uh, like Krishna is also called as Hari because he steals the hearts of devotees by his attraction and sweetness. And also, like you have mentioned about like how to come out of these things, like maybe we talked about we have to restrain the urges, and at the same time engage in devotional service. And the best way to engage in devotional service is like chanting with sincerity, and that is the one like that depends on this advancement depends on this sincerity devotional service. And you said that another nivritti stage is in our hands. It can be shorter or longer, depends on our sincerity. Later stages are like Nishta to Baba is uh, shorter. And also you mentioned that like what is that we are doing sadhana means uh, sadhana makes us closer and closer to Krishna. So Abhyasena Kwanteya you mentioned there. And also why are we suffering here? Because we turned away from Krishna, and hence we are getting the samsara dukkha. So if one gets the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, so one leaves the lower taste of material sensual pleasure. And you very nicely gave example of like pouring the petrol on flame. Very nice example for you. And yes, I mean very wonderful class, which we need to, at least I need to practice a lot on these things, because we think okay this time, but that time never ends. That is the problem.
Yeah.
Krishna devotees, your lines are also unmuted, so you can unmute and ask any questions or clarifications.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, excellent lecture. For everything you were quoting the sloka reference. It was amazing, Prabhu. Didn't know how the time just went off. Thank you very much, Prabhu. That was pranam for the fantastic lecture, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhu, Dandal Pranams. Thank you for the wonderful class. In fact, I just want to, I keep thinking about what is that sincerity. We keep talking sincerity. I think you cracked it by saying one particular place where I said extreme attraction. So you get extremely attracted to Krishna. So we always see that attachment becomes the basis to, everything else follows in that same mode. So when you have extreme attraction to Krishna, I think then everything will come automatic. We don't have to worry about what is being sincere.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the wonderful class. I think, Venkatramana covered all the key points. I think it was very, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
And one point you mentioned, Prabhuji, that intelligence means you said discrimination and determination. That is very necessary, Prabhuji. Like intelligence gives the discrimination, and also we need the determination to follow.
Yes.
That is very nice. For me, take away for today, Prabhuji. Any other devotees?
Hare Krishna, Madhav, Sharan, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for
Hare Krishna.
wonderful such Unitarian class, Prabhu. I have one question.
Yes.
Just now Venkatramana Prabhu mentioned about two aspects, which the intelligence is, ability to discriminate and being determined. So
Yes.
what we should do, Prabhuji, as a practicing sadhaka, increase the ability to discrimination and also to have the strong determination.
Yeah. Basically, this there are the senses. There is mind. There is intelligence. There is false ego. So we should understand how the purification of these things happen. Senses, how do they get purified? Rashikena Rashikesha Sevanam Bhaktirud. So actually, when we engage the senses in Krishna's service, senses get purified. And when we engage the mind, purifying mind, we chant. When we chant, mind gets purified. How does the intelligence becomes purified? Because when the intelligence is becoming purified, automatically it is becoming very powerful and strong. Okay, so how does the intelligence gets purified? By hearing Krishna Katha and reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So when we do the Swadhyaya or hearing Krishna Katha, our intelligence becomes strong. Not only hearing, we have to contemplate, do the manana. How is this? How is that? When we do this continuously, that is why Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya we do, and after that we do contemplation, manana. How is this? How is this related in my practical life? So when one continuously does this, he develops a Shastra Chakshu. That means intelligence is very powerful, that each incident he sees with respect to the shlokas or the Shastra. So in this way, intelligence becomes purified or very strong. And finally, how does the false ego gets purified? When we are in the association of devotees. False ego can be purified only in the association of devotees, where there are two clashes of the ego. If we take the humble position, we progress, we come more, we develop more of true ego, that I'm the Krishna Dasa, devotees, Dasa of devotees. But if we are more, arrogant and all, we may commit offenses. So we should be careful there. So that is the purification of the false ego. So here intelligence, when it is purified, it is becoming more powerful or strong, and it can discriminate properly. When it is the more purified intelligence, it can more discriminate, mainly because we are suffering because of the avidya. We are forgetful of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Chivera Swarupai Krishnera Nitya Das, we have forgotten that. When intelligence becomes strong, we are more focusing, we are always remembering we are Krishna Das. So we can discriminate what is right, what is wrong. The Krishna gives the intelligence. Matta, what is that? 15.5 verse. Jnanam apohanam cha. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna gives that intelligence. But for that, we need to do Swadhyaya and hearing Krishna Katha. That is the discrimination part. And about the determination part, we have to associate with the devotees who have that determination, who are very with the determination, they are following the path, or their goal is clear. That vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakai anantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. If we have multiple goals, I have to do this, I have to do this, along with that I am adding my chanting and hearing. That is not the way. First priority is the spiritual life. Those devotees who have with the determination, they are giving highest priority to the spiritual life or spiritual practices. If we continuously associate with those devotees, we also get the determination. So I hope I have answered. Discrimination comes by Swadhyaya and hearing Krishna Katha. And Krishna helps in giving that intelligence. And determination comes when we associate with the devotees who are having that determination. And especially by serving pure devotees and serving senior devotees, other devotees. Hare Krishna. This is my
Hare
understanding,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Maybe
Thank
if
you,
somebody
Prabhuji.
wants to add, they can add, please. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think typically, Prabhuji, when we discriminate, it's always easy to discriminate things which are very gross. I think when it gets to subtle, that's where I think the struggle is to discriminate
Yeah,
Net
that's
and
why
investigation.
Yadunandan Maharaj that day he was mentioning. If we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books on a regular basis, very soon we will get Krishna Prema. Because that that discrimination power is so strong, we will not get succumb to any type of sense gratification or anything. Immediately we can progress very fast, and we will actually we can see the difference within a short span of time only. If we are regularly reading and hearing, if our hearing is strong and if our reading is regular, we see faster progress. So that's why even Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, there actually tatarjas tamo bhava kamalobha dayasche chetayeter anaviddham sitam sattve prasidati. So sitam sattve prasidati, actually we immediately come to the mode of goodness when we are regularly hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Very fast we come to the platform of Sattva Guna. And from Sattva Guna, if we are chanting and reading continuously, we can transcend the modes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the clarification.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think there are no more questions.